Hey friends, Derek at Tech Connection back again. This time I have something a little bit more substantial that I can talk about than some of my previous vlogs. What I'm going to be doing today is cleaning up this rack. And what I mean by cleaning it up, let me step back so you can see more of it. We're going to be doing cleanup in the sense that we're going to redesign this so that the cords are not splayed about all over the place. Let's take a look. Some of this stuff on the side is meant to go into this rack. So we're going to need to rethink the positions of things. And just now, before I started filming, these were all up, these shelves were up higher. So I've been lowering them to make room for that equipment that's over there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is, you're looking at this, caught my eye. I'm sure it's catching everyone's eye. I'm going to rethink, let's get in close. I'm going to rethink the position of these panels, of these switches, and we're going to relay out these cables in a more efficient manner. And then let's take a closer look here. So these blue ones were recently installed by us, and that is these cords here. They're going into a pipe over here. That pipe comes up and over and down. And what we're going to do with these is put a couple of patch panels on this backboard, some 12s, and then those will be our cross connects for all of these items. They're going to go into the panel, that'll cross connect them over there, and then we'll plug them into their switch. So that will allow us to move this into the rack and then reconnect with patches, those things. So what are these? These are security cameras that are going all over the property, and I think they're also like doorbell system, other related things. They're a completely independent network from the LAN devices. And so this pipe never connects to anything useful. It just lands right here, then it goes all the way across the building to its next stop, but it doesn't get anywhere near the server thing. Like it skipped it as it came to this box. And so we've had a new pipe installed, and we just need to do sort of a loop back on ourselves to get through that last mile, as it were, in order to get to the main switch equipment. So the goal here, I wish I could zoom out more. The goal here is to eliminate this little table and all the items that are on it, put them back in the server area, clean this up, make it more orderly, and then be able to shut the door, which currently is impossible. All right, so what I'm going to do is get started on some of those steps, and as I complete each step, I will try and take a video. I won't try to hold the phone camera and do some foolishness with one hand and likely drop it on camera. I'll try and do everything nice and neat, and then I'll show you the aftermath. All right, I'm going to get started. Okay, so I've taken out what will be the camera panel, and I've begun to unpatch some of these items here. So as you've seen me do in other videos, I always make a note. I'll make a list that says port 1 goes to switch port 7, port 2 to 8, port 3 to 14, what have you. I've been told by the computer guys that this is a flat network and it doesn't matter, there's no VLANs, but I don't trust the computer guys, so I am making a list just in case things don't work when I'm done. I'll know how it was originally, so just good practice. So it's slowing me down a little, but I'll make my way through this panel. Okay, with all the patches gone, what's going to remain are going to be the switch-to-switch uplinks, and then any server and device, router, etc. connections. So all the various little computerized things that don't go into a patch panel, those are what remain on my switch. So my next task is to label every device and then make a note of where on these switches it is plugged into. And then I'm going to unpatch those as well so that I can reorganize where they're attached. Okay, I've got the switches and panels rearranged a little bit, And it is my intention to go, one-to-one to that switch. And we're running into one little issue, which is there is a switch-to-switch uplink on port 48 to port 24. And that is going to leave number 48 on the panel with nowhere to go. So he'll be a little orphan. And so what I'm going to do to deal with this is I'm going to pop that one out of the socket, and I'm going to move it down here and plug it into this switch instead. That's my goal with this. So we should be able to make a nice orderly thing with no crazy crisscross as long as we pop that out successfully and it reaches the other panel. All right, so I got 48 moved over to here. There was unfortunately not a big service loop right here that I could unwind in order to get more length. So I was fortunate it reached this open port, but it would not reach that little fella. So we'll have to make that work. But this is what it's looking like right now, and I am just about to start reconnecting things. Okay, so as you can see, we were able to patch a lot of these in, but not all. The reason we cannot do all is because in an effort to save money, the big 48 port switch here is not PoE and the 24 port switch here is. And that is creating a situation where a couple of these need to be redirected to that switch. And so I've got a cable manager to help me with that crisscross. And these are all the loose devices that were previously plugged in, and I've reoriented them to the bottom switch. And to deal with the jank that happens when you just sort of drop them in the front, they will also go into the cable manager. So I know a lot of you guys have complained about my cable manager use. However, I don't see any way to avoid it in a situation like this. So that's going to be how I solve that right now. Okay, I've just put in the shelf that the camera recorder will rest on, and it has a, what is the word? Like a related switch of some sort. And so that'll be here, and it'll use the cable manager to plug into these. And you're probably seeing right about now that all these device cables are becoming a pain in the butt. So I'm going to Velcro them out of the way, keep them nice and neat. I'm gonna bunch these up. Those are this. So we're gonna make these nicer. I'll cut that zip and we'll get it all up in the ceiling or along the wall, make that nicer. And then we will move all the cameras right here and see if we can't begin to button this project up. Okay, I've got most of this presentable. I've been working with the devices and their power cords to make them a little bit more hidden. And so it's time to do something about this. So with this tucked out of the way, we'll be pretty well wrapped up in terms of the first pass. I have so much more work to do, but one day at a time. So we're gonna do this next. And then with that out of the way, we're gonna take a stab at cleaning this up next. So we'll be making that into a patch panel, rolling up the slack, etc. So the work continues. Okay, friends, this is what I settled on. So we got the bundle looped up above. It's all Velcro, no zip ties. And I have a 3D printed bushing that can break in half and clasp around this that we'll need. Over time, this sharp edge might damage the jacket, so we don't want that. But that is how that's shaped up. So now we've got a little bit better presentation on the front of this rack. All right, proud to say I got that door closed, so this area is now usable again. Everything in here is reasonably good, so I'll give it another pass with zip ties and Velcro and try to get power cords and stuff under control. So as you can see, the more you look at it, the more you think of one more thing you want to fix. We'll clear this, we'll try to make the space like ready to move into for a new tenant, something like that. So we'll make the wall clean, doors closable. I'll try and get rid of this power cord when I get a chance. It's a multi-day process, so that's just what I'm up to. Anyway, these jobs are long and kind of quiet and lonely, so I'm glad I have all of you guys to talk to. I'll see you again real soon in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me. Take care.